Checkpoint 2 has been reached before we hit the end of the regular season. A lot has happened. Teams made moves to get better. Players are on different teams. The hierarchy has really been set in everyone's conferences, but most importantly, your Denver Nuggets sit at first place in the West with the second best record in the league. They are proving to everyone that when healthy, this team is one of the most dangerous teams in the West and possibly the entire NBA. This is it, a home stretch. So how do we feel about the Nuggets coming into the last 23 games of the regular season? Honestly, incredibly optimistic. The big issues going into Christmas were defense and our bench unit. With some improved effort and consistency, the Denver Nuggets went from a bottom 10 team on defense to a top 15. The Denver Nuggets also made some moves at the trade deadline to improve their struggling bench, and those pieces might be very impactful, from taking the bench to a negative, to a neutral, or hopefully a positive impact on the games. The time to fix your mistakes and play your best ball is before you. The playoffs are just around the corner, so let's recap the past 2 months. Alright, Nugget Mind, let's dig in. A massive storyline entering the season was the return of Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. after their injuries, and if this would push the needle in the right direction to make a splash in the NBA playoffs. Well, in the words of the prophet Nikola Jokic, Jamal is going to suck for 20 games, but that's okay. It's natural for a player coming back from injury to struggle, but there were great flashes of Bubble Murray trying to make his return. His speed and athleticism were very impacted, and that impacted Murray's ability to defend at a high level, and took away from his ability to get to his spots and knock down those shots we know he can hit. While in the past 2 months, Jamal has found his rhythm again, and when he is clicking, this team is terrifying. In January, he averaged 22 points per game on a 48, 45, 91 split. Those percentages alone are enough to bestow the title of back to him, but what really encourages me is seeing his confidence soar. And the best place to see that is in his 3-point attempts per game. Murray is taking almost 8 threes per game in the past 2 months, and honestly, that number may just keep trending up. His feel for the game and playing with Jokic is perfect. There may not be another guard in the NBA that can play as well alongside Jokic as Murray. Murray's return to form has given Nuggets fans a reason to be excited, but it doesn't stop there. Michael Porter Jr. was expected to be the next Kevin Durant. Long, athletic, a pure shooter, and insanely talented. But back surgeries made it difficult for him to reach that potential. It was difficult, I'm sure, for him to enter a position where he wasn't the best or even second best player on a team. He needed to take a step back and understand the position he was in. This is his opportunity to win and be a key contributor to raising this team's ceiling from a great regular season team to an NBA championship threat. There were games where it seemed like he was ready to give up and just move on. His role was reduced and he wasn't getting as many touches or shots as I'm sure he'd like. But this year he trusted the process and is now being rewarded for it. He is drilling his open shots and is understanding where to be on the floor. He plays within the offense. And if he's clicking at 100%, where Murray and Jokic make this team terrifying, adding MPJ to the mix makes this team a nightmare to defend. Speaking of defense, that's another area that's vastly improved for MPJ. Sometimes I think tall players don't realize that they're tall. Worry not, MPJ has figured out that he is massive. He's using his length to contest shots and is fighting over screens to contest those shots. He isn't amazing yet, but improvements are needed to win a championship, and we hope that this keeps trending. Aaron Gordon is perfect for this team. Period. He defends, he runs the floor, he cuts, he dunks the life out of the ball. He can hit open shots. He has evolved into a player that understands how to play Jokic ball, and seeing his journey the past 3 years has been incredible. I know this segment's a bit shorter for someone who's done so much, but a player like that deserves way more than just a small blurb on this video. Stay tuned, hopefully I can get that one out soon. KCP has also found the perfect home for him as well. He is a deadly shooter. He's getting the most wide open shots he's had his entire career. A byproduct of playing with Jokic, of course, but it goes beyond playing with the best player in the NBA. He's put in the time to reach an absurd 45% three-point shot. Pair that with his elite perimeter defense, and he's the best piece the Nuggets could have hoped for when they picked him up. Jokic is going to win his 3rd straight MVP. Every good thing that can be said about a player who is an offensive generational talent has already been said. but he really only has gotten better. Every year he improves. He has learned how to play NBA basketball and how teams are going to defend, and he destroys and deconstructs everyone and every team that gets in his path. He is averaging a triple-double, and in the 21 games that he has gotten a triple-double, the Nuggets are 21-0. When he is impacting every aspect of the game, his team wins. He currently has a 70.3 true shooting percentage. True shooting being an advanced stat that more accurately calculates a player's shooting rather than the individual percentages. That 70.3, should it stay, will be an NBA record. A small note as an angry Nuggets fan, I am done with the arguments against Nikola Jokic that are turning into, oh well, I guess we can keep changing the criteria to fit the Jokic narrative. And to that I say, there has never been a 110% defined criteria for MVP. Voters take stats, standings, accomplishments, and record-breaking numbers to get their votes in. It is never going to be a checklist that someone needs to get all marks on to get the award. The narrative and criteria feel like they're changing because the league is constantly changing, and players are doing more impressive things on a nightly basis. Jokic is killing NBA teams, and deserves so much credit and love for the things he does, and I am so done with hearing all the slander. Back to our regularly scheduled video. Last check-in is on the bench. Let's just get this out now. Bones was a failed prospect on many ends. It's not all on the coaching staff and organization, but there is definitely some blame there. Bones is a young player who had too much thrusted on him early. His play was poor, and rather than reflect and become better, he threw fits and alienated himself in the locker room. As much as I love him, and the energy he brought, the fit was not right for a team dreaming bigger than individual stats. I'll likely do a deeper dive into the Bones situation later, so stay tuned. The bench, as I've said before, is always the biggest anchor for this Denver Nuggets team. Being a constant minus and negative kills the momentum your starters built for you, and this needed to be addressed. Well, the first new piece was Thomas Bryant, a scoring backup center with great touch around the rim and size to hopefully be a presence down there below. Although he isn't a great defender, he is a scoring threat from almost anywhere. Hopefully this will give the bench a huge bump on the offensive side. The second piece, now that Bones is gone, was finding the backup point guard. Well, that's come in the form of hometown kid Reggie Jackson, who grew up in the Colorado Springs area and graduated from Palmer High School. Fun fact, because I love my hometown athletes so much. His scoring and playmaking had a great layer of depth to this team, and more importantly, his veteran presence and understanding of the NBA will help this team stabilize our bench and find nights where you can rest Jamal and not feel like you're missing a great ball handler. The rotation on the bench is now better too. Coach Malone has found a great unit in Bruce Brown, Vlatko Cancar, and Christian Braun. 3 amazing defenders who are great NBA players. This unit has been solid at keeping the games even, or even getting us ahead. Bruce is a great guard defender who has proven he can make wide open shots and push the pace on breaks. Vlatko is a hustle player who flies around on defense and understands how the Nuggets offense is supposed to look like. Christian Braun continued to impress in his rookie year and earned a rotational spot on the bench. With the addition of Reggie Jackson, maybe his minutes get reduced, but having a lot of amazing players you can rely on is never a bad thing, so long as the egos don't get in the way. Obviously, a big band-aid during the season was to stagger starters to ensure that our bench wasn't getting completely destroyed. I'm not sure if Malone will move to a full 10-man rotation, but it's not out of the question to at least experiment with it. A 10-man rotation lets you rest everyone more, and gives everyone a chance to play and become better in those games where someone might be out resting or hurt. The bench feels more complete, and looks ready to help this Nuggets team lock up the first seed in the West. We've hit the final checkpoint. This is the roster that we're going to go to war with. The roster that is going to attempt to do what no other Nuggets squad has done. Win the NBA championship. And give even more credit to Nikola Jokic as the best player in the NBA right now. There is so much to be encouraged by now. This team has gotten better in every aspect since the season started, and only looks to get better as they round into playoff form. Everyone around the league made moves to bolster their rosters, and despite all that, I'm not afraid. Bring it on. Play resumes tomorrow, and I am beyond ready to cheer on our boys, loud and proud. And I cannot wait to be back in Ball Arena with all of you, screaming. Hey there! Thanks again for checking out another one of my videos. I've been super busy finishing up school and working because bills won't pay themselves. But as I approach the end of school, there will be much more free time to create these videos for everyone. If you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing and please like the video. Remember to love each other, tell someone you love them, and let's go Nuggets.